Not only does the state of Florida want you to make a decision based on anger and revenge and hate, they have done everything they can to dehumanize Nikolas Jacob Cruz. They don't even call him by his name. What they have done is slapped on a label that says that he only has a personality disorder. And we told you in our opening statement that we don't disagree with that. Check, check, check. But that doesn't describe all of Nikolas's behavior. But if you just slap a label on somebody that has a personality disorder, they're antisocial, their character, their person is flawed, it's a whole lot easier to kill them because you don't see them as a human being. You're just reducing Nikolas to his worst act. It's easier to call somebody antisocial or borderline personality disorders than to accept what Nikolas Cruz really is. A broken, brain-damaged, mentally ill young man. And if we say that Nikolas is only antisocial or borderline personality disorder, then it's a Nikolas Cruz problem. But if we recognize what he really is, that damaged, brain-damaged, broken, mentally ill person, it becomes a human issue. And every human life has value. We are not saying that Nikolas doesn't have a personality disorder. We never have. What we are saying is that he also has FASD. He has both. And that is what the evidence has supported. You are about to make one of the most important decisions that you may ever make in your entire life. And you will never be able to change that decision. You will never be able to change your mind. And you will have to live with your decision for the rest of your life. And you are never, ever required to vote for death. You can base your decision, your vote for life, on anything, just like Mr. Satt said. And you don't have to explain it, you don't have to justify it, and you don't have to defend it, because it's your individual moral decision. And at some point, we have to realize that brain-damaged and mentally ill people are not going anywhere. And that we cannot ignore them or disregard them. At some point, we have to realize that there are women who will continue to abuse alcohol, do drugs, live a risky lifestyle while they are pregnant, do not get proper prenatal care, and that they damage their babies that are growing in their belly. And they damage the brain of the baby that is growing in their belly. There will be more Nikolas Cruzes, because there will be more women that drink alcohol when they're pregnant, that poison their baby. But like Dr. Jones told us, we must remove the stigma that is associated with this disorder. We must get those kids the proper diagnosis, the number one thing he said that they need. And we must give those kids the services that they deserve for them and for all of us. But sentencing Nikolas to death, extinguishing his life, will not make those problems go away. sentencing Nikolas to death will change absolutely nothing. It will not bring back those 17 innocent victims that he viciously murdered. It won't. You now know that Nikolas is a brain-damaged, broken, mentally ill person through no fault of his own. He was literally poisoned in Brenda's womb. This woman. These pictures and evidence. She poisoned him in her womb. He was doomed from the womb. And in a civilized, humane society, do we kill brain-damaged, mentally ill, broken people? Do we? I hope not. But that does not mean that because you're brain damaged and you're mentally ill and you're broken, that you don't deserve to be punished. He deserves to be punished. And no one at this table would ever disagree with you. But what the law says is that you are to take into consideration their damage when you sentence them. We are not asking you to let Nikolas Cruz walk out of this courtroom. That is not what we're asking you to do. We are asking you to punish him, and to punish him severely. We are asking you to sentence him to prison for the rest of his life, where he will wait to die, either by natural causes or whatever else could possibly happen to him while he's in prison. He will never get out. Never. He will never walk a free step again. The law of our country says that the death penalty is reserved for the worst of the worst crimes committed by the worst of the worst offenders. The worst of the worst offenders are never people that are mentally ill and brain damaged through no fault of their own. They're just not. What did Nikolas not have control over? He did not have control over who his biological mother was. He had no control over how he was conceived. He had no control over how much Colt 45 that Brenda drank when he was growing in her belly. He had no control over how much Cisco, and we now know because of Dr. Scully, that one bottle is the equivalent of 5 shots of vodka while he was growing in her belly. He had no control over Brenda being arrested for possession of cocaine when he was growing in her belly. He had no control over the chaotic environment that she was living in for most of her pregnancy, on the streets, having sex for money and drugs, where her number one priority was not prenatal care, but it was her addiction. Nikolas had no control over the crack that Brenda smoked while he was growing in her belly. And he had no control over the amount of cigarettes that she smoked when he was in her belly. Is that factor in and of itself, as Mr. Sath said, a reason for life? No. But if you take it all in its totality, it talks and shows you about a woman who was not taking care of the baby that was growing in her belly. We cannot allow ourselves to be disconnected from the most vulnerable people in our society, the broken and brain damaged, the mentally ill. How we treat those people says more about who we are as a society, more about who you are as a human being than anything else. What is Nikolas's fault? What he pled to. And just like I told you in the very beginning when I stood up, we're not here to decide guilt and innocence. That's done. And for today, for 1,700 days, we, the defense, have held Nikolas Cruz's life in our hands. And we have done everything that we could possibly do to uncover and to examine and to tell you Nikolas's life story and the lives of those that shaped his. We did that, just like I told you in my opening, so that you would have reasons to vote for life. And while we, the defense, were literally spending every waking moment examining every aspect of Nikolas's life and the lives of the people that shaped him, the state of Florida was spending the same amount of time trying to do everything that they could to show you and to prove to you that executing Nikolas is the only way that justice can be served in this case. And they could not be more wrong.